there's another select committee called the China Subcommittee, and that was a bipartisan vote. You know, it's very popular to be against China right now. And by the way, I turned to Matt Gaetz, and as everybody's China, 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 and I said, you know, the ironic thing is every congressman in this room is probably wearing an article of clothing from China.
Yeah.
And Matt Gaetz turned over his tie and it said "Made in China," and I turned over my tie and it said "Made in China," and we're like, "Yep." But anyways, the only reason I bring up the China committee, I don't want to spend any time on it, is there was a bipartisan vote for it, but there was not a bipartisan vote for the select subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government against the American people. It was a party line, and the Democrats said we don't need it. One of the arguments made by Chairman Schiff, former chairman of the Intel Committee, is, oh, if you go poking around there, they're not going to want to give us the information we need later on to legislate, within their domain. And I got up and I said, listen, if there's anybody over there who is reluctant to let us perform our oversight function, we're the branch that created them, funded them, and we're responsible for their oversight. And if that's the existence proof, if they're reluctant, for why this needs to happen now. And it's actually, I didn't say this, but it's actually also proof that he hasn't been doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it strikes me that the necessity to create this special subcommittee is a scathing indictment of the failure of Congress to do its job, because
that's the title of my speech yesterday on the House floor. Two glorious minutes of it. You know, if this is the existence proof. Their argument was the existence proof for why it needs to exist, and they're trying to call it the tinfoil hat committee.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll find things, and I think they're going to regret.
I don't remember who the congressman is, but a Democratic congressman this must have been a floor debate yesterday, breathlessly said in the New York Times, "This committee is nothing more than a deranged ploy by the MAGA extremists who have hijacked the Republican Party and now want to use taxpayer money to push their far-right conspiracy nonsense." And it strikes me that they're objecting too much. Like, they're kind of saying, if we're going to get exposed because we didn't do our basic responsible function.
I quoted Shakespeare, which I've never done in a speech on the floor. I'm not a fond.
That's pretty highbrow of you.
Yeah, I think when people start quoting other things, they should just insert a footnote into their speech, and then we can go find it later.
Yeah.
But it was the sentence I quoted was, "The lady doth protest too much, methinks."
Yeah.
I mean, I will make every effort not to give them the ammunition to marginalize this committee like that. So, for instance, let's talk about some things that aren't in the purview of this committee. This is about civil liberties, and civil is also the root word of civilian. We're not talking about politicians. We're not talking about where any government official's rights infringed. And that's what they're going to say. Oh, you're trying to relitigate the election. No, I am so beyond that. I was beyond it on January 3rd, 3 days before January 6th.